9 o'clock now, so processing the check-in results. I'm going to go over here to the participants list. I'm going to shuffle those seeds. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's go back here, and we're starting the tournament. Now, to all four of the players, please don't start your matches until I'm in there. We'll start with ODM, Syphos versus Kark, and then we'll go to Hadres versus Loopy, and take everything from there. Sound good, guys? All right, well, let's start off with our blue player, the High Elves here, who have brought a themed army, no doubt. What do we got here? So we got alternating Shadow Warriors and Shadow Walkers. So 4 Shadow Walkers and what appears to be 2 Shadow Warriors, I think. Yeah. Or no. Shadow Walker, Shadow Warriors. Okay, yeah. So 4 and 2. The Shadow Warrior is going to be in between the Shadow Walkers. These guys have much higher armor. Oh, not armor. They just have higher model count. In any case, we'll get back to them. I don't know the most about Nagaroth, to be honest, as far as faction units go. Aside from the very heavy range contingent, he's going to have a couple of Dragon Princes. The Nagaroth color scheme for these Dragon Princes and Silver Helms is absolutely sexy with that dark gray and silver. So Silver Helms and Dragon Princes, as well as another unit of Dragon Princes on the far left, so 3 cavalry total. For his heroes, he's going to have a Swordmaster of Hoeth over here, hidden in the trees. He is going to be bringing with him Earthblood Spirit Leech and nothing else. And then we are going to have a Lithanar himself leading this themed army with all of their heavy skirmishers. He's going to have the Moonbow along with Dark in the Skies, and that will be it. Now, let's take a look at the Empire over here on the other side of the battlefield. And in this Empire army, we're going to have what appears to be 4 units of Spearmen and 2 Swordsmen. One of the Swordsmen will be the Sigmar Sons Regiment, or Renowned Unbreakable unit. Now, aside from that, for the mobility units in the Empire, we're going to have quite a lot of cavalry here in the form of 4 Empire Knights. These guys are heavily armored, not the most high tier, only 850, but for the cost, very efficient. You also have the Demigryph Royal Altdorf Griffites Regiment, Renowned Who Cause Terror, and they are going to be sitting here with a Warrior Priest. Now, I think that covers it for the Empire Army besides this Hammer of the Witches artillery piece. And now we're going to go on to leadership. So aside from the Warrior Priest, who does have what appears to be the Grand Shield, or Shield of Faith, Scroll of Power, and the Hammer of Sigmar, we're going to have a Jade Wizard over here hidden in the forest with Regrowth Earthblood on top of a steed. And then we're going to have Volkmar the Grim over here on top of his big old war chariot. And Volkmar is going to be bringing with him the Grand Shield of Faith, Grand Hammer of Sigmar, and he, of course, is unbreakable due to his unwavering faith. Now we're going to see a Lithanar immediately going to be killing some models. So it looks like he's just killed 5 models so far. And now he's going to change his targeting over here to the Hammer of the Witches, and he's going to take out one of their artillery pieces quite quickly, and it looks like a Lithanar may be going to snipe this Hammer of the Witches completely. 2 cannon pieces down already. So Hammer of the Witches, basically a huge investment from the Empire being lost very quickly there. It cost around, I think, 1,100 points, so the fact that it's already down to 1 artillery piece less than 1 minute into the battle must be quite the shock for the Empire player here. I know I wasn't expecting it. Now we're going to see the High Elves are going to be pulling back, pulling the Empire further and further into their territory, and now that the artillery has been compromised for the most part, I think the High Elves have a lot more ease setting the pace of this battle. However, the one thing the Empire does have significant advantage in is going to be the Cav. They have the 4 Empire Knights, which aren't going to stack up against Silver Helms and Dragon Princes, but they'll be more than enough to pin them in place, and then the Demigryph Altdorf Griffites can come over here and dish out some mean damage since they are anti-large with armor piercing. Empire line is taking quite a lot of damage. The 2 spearmen are basically dead at this point. But I do want to give a shout out here to the Empire player Kark for keeping his lines dressed. You know, he's letting these guys go out. They have shields. They're soaking up a lot of damage. They're not super high value targets, so I think he wants them to expend ammunition killing the lowly spearmen or swordsmen rather than cavalry. But yeah, the Empire player playing this very, very patiently. Looks like some Dragon Princes are going to be coming in for a charge on top of the Sigmar Sons, who are going to start turning and running the other way as Empire Knights start diving in to counter that maneuver from the Dragon Princes. But then Syphos is going to immediately start skirmishing these Empire Knights with his Shadow Warriors and Walkers. Empire line is continuing to push forward, trying to close this gap, but High Elf's doing a very good job so far of keeping their distance and skirmishing very effectively. And right now they're starting to dish out the damage here to the swordsmen and these Empire Knights as well. But Empire Knights are shielded, 110 armor, so you got to be careful there, as none of these Shadow Warriors or Walkers have armor-piercing damage. But here we go, a nice Spirit Leech going down on top of the Empire Knights. And yeah, they're taking quite a lot of damage. We're going to see these Silver Helms come out, being used very well. Yeah, this High Elf army is being used like a scalpel, very precise. You're not seeing a lot of wasted movement from the cavalry or the archers. You know, the archers are continuously pulling back and firing back while they're doing so, and then these cav units are being used very well in order to space out any Empire cavalry, and perhaps more importantly, to really dish out a ton of damage to these infantry as they've been charging in unbraced. Oh, here we go. We have the Lore Master of Hoeth in combat with a ton of chaff infantry from the Empire. Seems to be doing just fine for himself, allowing these infantry to blob up on him and then get shot to pieces by the High Elf archers. We're going to see another Spirit Leech go down here. And it does look like the Empire is just a bit caught off balance right now. Their army looking like it's trying to regroup, get some regrowth down on some of these units, and regain as much combat effectiveness as possible from that healing. But now we're going to see the High Elf sending in their very capable melee, very capable in melee archers. Shadow Warriors and Walkers both can handle their own, especially against the likes of Spearmen and Empire Swords. Right now, I'm not sure what's happening here. Looks like the Empire may be pulling back a bit, letting their cannon do some talking. And I think he may be banking on the fact that the High Elves are almost out of ammunition. And once they're out of ammunition, they will need to close the gap and get in combat. And then he may be wanting to take the battle there. Because once they're out of ammo, this High Elf army becomes significantly less threatening for the Empire player. As soon as this ammunition is gone, you got a bunch of archers. And granted, the archers will probably be enough to take out a lot of the remaining Empire infantry, but if he plays his cav right, there's no way Shadow Warriors and Walkers without ammunition will be able to take on Empire Knights and Demigryph Knights, as well as this big chariot. And this chariot here, Volkmar the Grim, is really concerning for the High Elves in my opinion, because he's unbreakable. He has quite a huge HP pool, and when push comes to shove at the end of the game, he can dish out a ton of damage on top of the remaining High Elf archers if he isn't dealt with immediately. Alith Nar is going to start shooting in here into the cav, and I think Alith Nar has probably been invaluable throughout this match just on the model counts that he's killed. So 58 kills, and as we've seen, he's been mostly focusing on cav targets throughout the entire battle, so I think he's gotten a lot of value with the models that he's killed, because as we know, Empire has healing, but they do not have the ability to resurrect dead HP, or resurrect dead combatants, so once a model's gone, they can't get that health back. Empire looks like it's having a bit of trouble here. Like I say, I'm standing by my initial hypothesis here that Kark is waiting for the ammunition to be out before he commits any of his more important units into the combat. But yeah, he's got to be careful. Now, where is the Hammer of the Witches firing? Shall we go on a journey?
The omens are good, brothers.
There it goes. It finds its target, hitting some of these Shadow Walkers. I would like to see the Hammer of the Witches trying to shoot the cav, but I do understand it looks to me like Xyphos is doing a good job of keeping the cav out of range of the Hammer of the Witches. And look at this, 3 untouched units of High Elf cavalry. But now look at this, the balance of power is starting to shift away and back into the Empire favor. So we'll see what happens from here. I think the Demigryph Knights over here are really the ace in the hole, along with Volkmar the Grim. They have terror here, they have terror here. The High Elves have terror nowhere. So as long as these terror units are kept healthy, and at this point, since it looks like most of the High Elves are out of ammunition, they will be fine. We see the Empire now closing the gap and trying to get down on top of all of these High Elf forces. Royal Altdorf Griffites did just get Spirit Leeched, Looks like they're going to try and counteract. Oh, just kidding, that's not a heal, that's the Grand Hammer of Sigmar. So, Grand Hammer of Sigmar going down here, increasing their melee attack quite significantly. But here comes some Dragon Princes, and now we're seeing everybody get into this big blob. Looks like the Empire trying to take advantage of Earthblood as well as the Warrior Priest buffs, and the High Elves perhaps just trying to take advantage of the Lore Master of Hoeth, popping down Earthblood on top of the High Elf units at once. But now look at this. This fight is very, very close. We're already seeing some of the Empire Cav begin to waver and wander off. We're seeing some Dragon Princes, however, getting terrified there by Volkmar the Grim and the Royal Elf Gryphite. So right now, balance of power in favor of the Empire, but anyone's a game in my opinion, as we see a lot of the low-level Empire infantry just beginning to get overwhelmed by these High Elf archers. Silverhelms turning around, diving into these Empire Knights. They're going to make some quick work of them. They are very low on health to begin with. And now we're going to see the Royal Altdorf Gryphites. Oh, it looks like they're about to break, but they just pulled their leadership back together. Stick your leadership to this sticking place. Volkmar the Grim trying to run over the Swordmaster of Hoeth, who's standing in front of him. He is a tough lord to deal with, that is for damn sure. And just the fact that he's on this chariot, unbreakable, running around all of these poor Shadow Walkers and High Elf infantry units, that might be enough to pull it into the Empire favor. But at this point, looks like it's starting to swing back towards the High Elves, as a lot of the Empire Cav infantry and everything is starting to rout, including the Royal Altdorf Gryphites. And without the Royal Altdorf Gryphites, you know, that's a tall order, because that means the only Cav left on the field that isn't routing is going to be Dragon Princes and Silverhelms, so all High Elf units. And now, without any of that Empire mobility, I do worry for Volkmar's chances to get out of this. But look at that, he's still dishing out a ton of damage to the Lore Master of Hoeth and to Olitha Nar, who look like they're now trying to get down on top of the Warrior Priest. But yeah, the Empire leadership squad is still staying strong with 100% leadership across the board. And yeah, curious to see how this shapes up. I mean, right now it looks like the High Elves have just pinned all the Empire units in place. And yeah, oh, but while they're being pinned in place, you have the Hammer of the Witches still over there shooting into this huge blob of High Elf units. Oh my god, dead even in the balance of power, ladies and gentlemen. And every time they stay blobbed up, there's going to be another cannonball coming from the Hammer of the Witches. And I think the High Elf player must be thinking his lucky stars that he was able to take out 2 of those models before this stage of the battle happened. Oh, Olitha Nar going to get terror routed. Is he going to get out of here? I don't know, chat. Coming around the peripheries, we do see some Empire Knights getting regrouped, but now we're going to see some Dragon Princes and Silverhelms countercharge them. And like I say, the higher tier of these High Elf Cav units should make quick work of the Empire Knights. The Demogryph, Royal Altdorf Gryphites were really the only ones who stood a chance. But now look at this, another huge break for the High Elves. They are taking out the Empire's Lifecaster, who is routing. And if that Lifecaster dies, I think that seals the fate of the rest of this Empire army. Olitha Nar has stopped routing. It looks like he's coming back, but he's going to get bulldozed by Volkmar the Grim. And there goes Olitha Nar. So the Empire not going to let this insult go unanswered. Oh no, the Jade Wizard may come back now, and the balance of power will start to even up as soon as he stops to rout. And if he gets a big regrowth on top of Volkmar the Grim right now, oh my god. I doubt he has enough magic, but if he did, that would be devastating for the High Elves right now. The last thing they need is a regrowth on top of either of these hero units from the Empire. And Volkmar the Grim, like, what kind of kill count do you got right now? 77? 78? Just kind of counting up by the second, it seems, as he pulls in and out on top of all these units. And oh my god, is that the regrowth? Oh my god. I think that was the regrowth, and then it got dropped because the Jade Wizard got in combat. Oh, I can't tell. Never mind. I guess that might have just been the Grand Shield of Faith. But there goes the Warrior Priest. Warrior Priest is starting to rout now. Volkmar's coming right back into combat, saying, hey, boys, how's it going? Did you miss me? But yeah, I guess I spoke too soon. It does not look like there's enough magic from the Jade Wizard here to throw down a regrowth on top of Volkmar the Grim. I think that would be the only thing to bring this battle back at this point, and even then it's probably too little too late. A GG to the High Elves from Sipho's in a very close match against the Empire. Good night, sweet mustachio. Yeah, very close. And I do agree with you, Luke. Falcon, if the Griffites break, it's over. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing this match between two very strong factions and two very capable players. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the map we have loaded ourselves into. Make sure there's no army block or anything up. Yep, looks like I'm good. We'll go from there. Is it Jimmy D? Oh crap, I didn't update the bracket for this tournament yet, so I can do that really quick actually. Doom. Moobot. Quick before they load in! Custom commands. Shit, it's almost there. Bracket. Alright, there we go. You can do that bracket again and it should give you the right one. In any case, here we are in the map. Let's go ahead and start with our red player this time around instead of our blue player. And already it looks less stuttery to me. How about to you guys? Hopefully things are looking smooth on your end. But here we are, the Lizardmen. We have 4 skink skirmishers over here. Make that 5 skink skirmishers. So 5 of these guys, a rather significant skirmishing force. We're going to have Cold One Riders and Horned One Riders. So looks like we're going to have 2 of each. So Cold One Rider with a Horned One Rider on either flank. For the infantry, we're going to have a center line consisting of what appears to be 5 skink cohort with javelins. So once again, adding to that skirmishing contingent while keeping some decent melee combatants. You know, these guys are probably the equivalent of Night Goblins, I would say, on the tier list. When you look at the single entity monsters, we're going to have 2 Bastillodons here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so these guys are going to cause terror at a rather cost-efficient price of 800. And then, aside from this, let's take a look at the leadership. Unless I'm missing anything, no, skink skirmishers are Vanguard deployed. But we are going to be seeing a skink priest of heavens up on a pterodon with Curse of the Midnight Sun, or Wind, and Wind Blast. And then we are going to see a Saurus Oldblood here on top of a Cold One. He's going to have the Horn of Kygor and Stand Your Ground along with nothing else. So, taking a look at the Dark Elf army here, we are going to see a very healthy skirmish contingent. That's going to be 3 Dark Riders repeater crossbows. These guys do have armor-piercing missiles and are quite fast. They're going to have a decent amount of infantry, 4 Bleak Swords and 2 Blackguards and Nagaron. Aside from that, we're going to see a Reaper Bolt Thrower here in the back to force the Lizardmen to them. We are going to see Dark Rider shields, Vanguard deployed in the rear to protect from any encroaching Lizardmen flanking units. And then I think that rounds it out besides the hero, or the leadership squad, as well as the most beautiful, sexy unit in the whole damn game, the Chill of Sontar War Hydra. This guy is just so beautiful, and I hope to see him used very well in this battle. Now, to complement that Chill of Sontar, we're going to have Malekith up in the air on his Black Dragon Seraphim. And Malekith is going to have Gaze of Malice with Soul Stealer, and that is it. So, here we go, chat. Looks like the Dark Elf skirmishers are going to ride forth towards the Lizardmen right now and get some early skirmishing done. And the Reaper Bolt Thrower, I'm sure, will be firing at any second onto some of these Lizardmen targets. Oh, hardcore stuttering still? Damn it. What a bummer. My apologies, chat. Here comes the Reaper Bolt Thrower continuing to fire in. We'll restart the stream after this one just to see if we can fix that stutter. And immediately the skink cohort are going to start firing all of their rounds into the Chill of Sontar. Chill of Sontar probably okay with that. It does have regeneration, so if you can take some of that damage, it will heal it right back up as long as it has a second. Bleak Sword's going to dive forward into the skink cohort with javelins, who are going to not get a counter charge and actually throw their javelins into the Dark Riders repeater crossbows. So they're going to take quite a whooping there. But a Wind Blast coming through, and that's going to negate both of the units. So the Lizardmen playing it quite well there with that sexy Wind Blast. Chill of Sontar looks like it's going to be going in for its breath here. And, oh yeah, it did a nice little bit of damage there because it went through 2 units. Chill of Sontar, I think, has an incredible breath. If you get it on a sideways angle, it can wipe out entire units. Here we go. Dark Riders, Repeater Crossbows, and Blackheart and Nagron seem to be coming out, charging into these King Cohort Javelins and pulling back. Malekith going to get back in the air as he was being chased by Horned Ones, as well as the Saurus Old Blood over here. So a narrow escape, I imagine, for Malekith there. That would have been rough if he didn't get out of there. But here we go. Horned One Riders diving directly on top of Blackheart and Nagron, which is never what you want to do. And then taking a huge breath coming in from Malekith. So he's going to charge in and perhaps cause some terror rather quickly on top of these Horned One Knights. And now the Cold One Knights are trying to hit a rear charge on top of the Blackheart and Nagron. But once again, just a dangerous target in my opinion, especially with Repeater Crossbows so close, who can dish out so much damage with just a single volley. Soul Stealer going down on top of this huge Cav Blob. And going to be causing quite a lot of damage and healing Malekith up in turn. Wait a minute, the Chill of Sontar is routing right now. His leadership is quite high, so I imagine he'll be coming back any second, but he is indeed routing, and I'm kind of confused why he isn't stopping. There he is. Okay. Oh, is this going to be the one? Chill of Sontar, go. Oh, the breath dropped. Oh, that did some work. Repeater Crossbows coming over here now. The Dark Elves are in a precarious position, though, because they're so close to the edge of the map that if any other units start routing, it's very likely they will rout off for good. But Chill of Sontar coming in here to help Seraphim and Malekith, and Terror just kicking in immediately across the Lizardman lines. Horned Ones and Cold Ones alike both routing, and now we're looking to see the Feral Bastiladon perhaps about to rout, as it does not want to be in combat against the Chill of Sontar War Hydra. Other Bastiladon is routing right now. And looking across the lines, you know, the Lizardmen have quite a lot of skirmishers left, but just not a lot of meat to their army. Going to see another Soul Stealer coming down on top of the Saurus Old Blood in these Skink skirmishers, and that's a lot of damage the Lizardman leadership is taking, and they can't heal it back right now. Chill of Sontar in the forest, duking it out with some Cold One Riders. Malekith diving on top of these Cold One Riders, really trying to prevent any of these groups from being able, any of these units from regrouping with the Lizardman leadership. Repeater Crossbows continuing to pay dividends as they snipe down this Feral Bastiladon, who I doubt will even be able to close the gap to this infantry before he's killed. Oh! Guess my doubt was in vain. He definitely closed the gap, but then he routed almost immediately after. Balance of power starting to pull away and shift in favor of the Dark Elves, so Sipho's once again starting to take a lead, and I think we may be seeing him win this best of 3 in a 2-0 fashion, unless the Lizardmen really pull something out here. Just between the Chill of Sontar, which is regenerating right now, the Repeater Crossbows, and 2 Blackheart and Nagron still alive, I really worry for the Lizardmen chances here, especially because this fight is so much going to be a matter of terror in the late game. And now look at this Skink Priest of Heavens getting tuned up by Malekith, and now the Repeater Crossbow is probably going to just open up and shoot a volley into him as well. Repeater Crossbows still have about a third of their ammunition left, so going to continue doing a lot of damage. The Skink Skirmishers have a lot of ammunition too, and the Lizardmen need to use these Skirmishers to cope with the Repeater Crossbows, but look at that, Malekith diving in on them, causing terror immediately. And now these Dark Riders with shields are diving in on top of the Saurus Old Blood. Alright, there goes the chain route, it looks like, and the balance of power is swinging in favor of the Dark Elves, and Kark is going to lose to Siphos in a 0-2 fashion. So well played to Siphos and to Kark both. I really appreciate them taking the time to play in today's Flash tournament. It was fun watching these two players both play really good games. But yeah, in the end there, the Dark Elves came out on top. And I mean, I thought the Lizardmen were looking pretty strong in the initial engagements there, but Sypho's really keeping calm and collected and utilizing his 2 remaining repeater crossbows to great effect. But his Malekith play was very much on point there. Didn't let him get caught on the ground. Utilized missile units to support him, as well as the Blackguard and Aggron very, very well. So all around, I think he just played those battles very well, and in the end played him a bit better than Kark did, and that's what led him to come out on top. But once again to Kark, thank you for playing. Better luck in the next tournament, and yeah, great games. All right, everybody, here we go. Starting with the red player, we have Skaven. Bam, 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 bam. So, for the Skaven here, we have what appears to be the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers, some Clan Rats out in the front. We're going to have a couple Plague Monks behind them, and then a healthy number of Skaven Slave Spears and Clan Rat Spears scattered throughout. We're going to have 4 Rat Ogres in the backline to add some mass. We're going to have 2 of these Warplock Giselles, one of them being the Natty Boo Boo Sharpshooters. He is also going to be bringing to the field, besides all this infantry and Rat Ogres, a hero squad. Now, the hero squad will consist of a Warlock Engineer. Warlock Engineer will have Howling Warpgale and the Warpstone armor for that area of effect damage over time. He then has Lord Skrolk with the Library of Abonicus, Rod of Corruption, Stand Your Ground, Vermintide, as well as Bless with Filth, and Aura Pestilence with Plague Rash as that passive. Now, that rounds out the Skaven army. Let's take a look at the Lizardmen. Lizardmen here are going to have a ton of infantry, going to have what appears to be 4 Saurus Warriors with Shields, as well as 3 Skink Cohort, and 1 Red-Crested Skink Cohort being the cohort of Sotek. Aside from them, we are going to have a lot of mobility with some Cold One Riders on either flank, and then we are going to have, I forget, the Umbral Tide Salamander Hunting Pack Regiment renowned with perfect vigor. He is then going to have a Feral Carnosaur along with a Saurus Oldblood. Saurus Oldblood will have the Amulet of Itzel and nothing else. And then we got a Skink Priest of Beast over here with the Transformation of Kadan, and that is all. So, sorry to the players for interrupting the match with Sean being death reel, but I really couldn't control myself. Damn it! Alright, hold on, guys. Let's close down some stuff. Alright, let's see if it smooths out. Okay, here we are. Players are in the match. Skaven are moving forward. Lizardmen are moving forward, and we'll take it from there. Are we already getting a summon here? Looks like we already got a Clan Rat summon coming down. And they're going to be running out immediately, looking to come and take down these guys. The lag is back, damn it! Why did I do that, Sean being death reel? It ruined the stream. Alright guys, we'll deal with it after this battle. My apologies. Sean Bean definitely did this, but here come the Lizardmen forces. Some of the Saurus Warriors with shields getting pinned by the summoned unit of Clan Rats, which is exactly what they're there for, to slow down some of this Lizardmen line. And now we're going to see Rat Ogres coming over here with Skaven Slave Spears to deal with some cohorts, Skink Cohort. And yeah, I mean, right now the Lizardmen are taking a lot of damage on the approach in here. A Move Hacker with his Saurus Oldblood taking quite a lot of damage, but going to be shooting in some fireballs on top of the Rat Ogres here, trying to even up the tally. Transformation of Kadan going down. That Manticore has been summoned. There he goes. Saurus Oldblood's diving on top of Clan Rat Spears, and you know, across the line, it looks like a lot of engagements are going down. Lizardmen going to be breaking this right flank, terrifying some Rat Ogres and Skaven Slave Spears. So the Lizardmen do have this hole, and it looks like they're going for the envelopment now. But this Saurus Oldblood is taking so much damage on the approach, and now he's about to get pinned in place by these Rat Ogres with their mass, and that's going to make a perfect target for the rest of these Warplock Giselles as he is down here pinned in place. And look at that. The Natty Boo Boo Sharpshooters are continuing to lay down suppressive fire on him and do a ton of damage. But there go the Rat Ogres. They are terrified. These guys are terrified. So now this fist of Lizardmen can continue to punch through and get into the back lines of the Skaven. Umbral Tide Salamander Hunting Pack are beginning to fire their fireballs down on top of the Plague Monks, getting some very good value there. And then over here you see that the Skaven, looks like the Lizardmen are doing a good job of trying to compromise some of these Warplock Giselles with the Cold One Spear Riders, but Skaven Slave Spears and Clan Rat Spears are nearby to counteract that movement. Going across the battlefield now, we're going to see here the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers chasing after the cohort of Sotek. Some Plague Monks over here still very healthy, so a lot of healthy Skaven infantry on the field still, but the Lizardmen have done a good job of compromising their ranged power, and now the Natty Boo Boo Sharpshooters are compromised as well. A Feral Carnosaur on top of them, dishing out quite a lot of damage, and I'm sure Terror could be kicking in any moment now, and without those guys, the Skaven are at a severe disadvantage. They need those units to take down those big terror-causing single entities, and without them, I'm very worried for the Skaven chances. However, Liber Babonicus is still an option, and we will see if that is utilized to take care, you know, the rest of the Saurus Oldblood or not. But it actually looks like the Saurus Oldblood may just be dying here no matter what is done by the Lizardmen. At 59 HP, there goes the Saurus Oldblood, and that is a huge, huge loss for the Lizardmen forces. Coming across the battlefield now, the balance of power is dead even. We have the Skink Priest of Beast over here. If he had Wind Blast, he'd be getting a ton of value right now, but he's pretty low on leadership. In red, you can see the balance of power starting to shift in their favor as some of these Cold One Spear Riders are routing, and a lot of the infantry from the Lizardmen are routing as well. Natty Boo Boo Sharpshooters look like they've just regrouped and should be back online soon and lay down some nice oppressive fire, but right now the only thing I'm seeing left on the field for the Lizardmen is the Feral Carnosaur, and its leadership is dropping quickly. And without that Feral Carnosaur and no leadership, I don't think the Lizardmen have what it takes to win this fight. Here comes another Clan Rat summon. And yeah, it just looks like Terror is not going to kick on any of these Skaven units. Alright, so how was the stream? Did it smooth out or did it stay bad? Flat cables. I mean, I have an Ethernet and everything. I guess I just need to get a new router because it's starting to shit out on me more lately. Yeah, very good fight, and the Lizzies got some good kills there. And, you know, I thought they were doing a great job pushing that right flank, but the Skaven just were able to get out so much damage before the lines were closed that even though the Saurus Oldblood eventually was able to get down and shut down these two Warplock Giselles, he had taken so much damage by that point to where Rat Ogres were able to finish him off in the end. And, you know, I think the Skaven player just did a good job there, Hadres, of tar-pitting a lot of the Lizardmen infantry, not letting their engagements come in harmony or in synchrony, and that allowed the Natty Boo Boo Sharpshooters and the Warplock Giselles to absolutely devastate the Lizardmen leadership. Also, I like the summon of the Manticore, but I would have liked to see some more magic from the Lizardmen here. Even a Flock of Doom, I think, would have been highly beneficial there on top of those infantry blobs towards the late game. You want to bring some kind of offensive magic, in my opinion, besides just the summon when you're going up against Skaven. But a great game to both players, and let's see who comes up on top in the second round here as we load into it. Let's throw up the army blocker and add a point here to Hadres, the red player.